Hare Krishna. Question: is there any difference between faith and blind faith? Yes, definitely. Blind faith is undesirable. Faith is not only desirable but essential. Blind faith means it is not sensible, it is not verifiable. Reasonable faith or faith in general is sensible and verifiable, and such faith is required not just in religion but in every walk of life. When we go to a doctor for treatment, at that time we have to put faith. We don't know in advance whether the doctor's treatment will cure us or not. We put faith in the doctor, but that faith is not blind faith. If we just went to a person sitting on the street, on the footpath, and asked that person for treatment, then that would be blind faith, because there's no sense in asking such a person. But how does our faith become not blind faith but reasonable or intelligent faith? It is because when we go to a doctor, that is sensible and verifiable. Firstly, when we go to a doctor, we first look at the credentials. This is an accredited doctor, and then when the doctor gives us a diagnosis, I say my stomach is paining, and the doctor says I have to cut your leg. This doesn't make sense. Nonsense. But a doctor, then we would reject that such a doctor if what the doctor said didn't make sense. But if the doctor's statements, oh, you have got excess acidity in your stomach, so I'll give you some medicines to cure the acidity. Oh, that makes sense. And then, so first aspect of intelligent faith is sensibility. And then second is verifiability. So doctor says that, okay, you take this for 1 week and your stomach will become alright. And then we take it for 1 week and then we find that actually our health has recovered. And then we say, oh, this doctor is good. So putting faith in such a way is not just desirable, it's essential. If we refuse to put faith, we will die. We'll stay sick and we will die. So similarly, even in the field of religion, there can be blind faith where we just follow some ritual or do something because everyone is doing it, and we never ask questions about why it is done, and we never expect anything really. It's not verifiable. So now, how can faith and religion be intelligent faith, be sensible and verified? When we go to some spiritual teacher who is like a spiritual doctor, then we ask questions. Who am I? What is the purpose of my life? How can I actually become happy in life? And then, for example, the Bhagavad Gita is a book of question answers. And the Bhagavad Gita provides philosophy which answers these questions cogently and coherently. So the answers make sense. We use our intelligence to make sure that the answers make sense. And actually the Bhagavad Gita asks for such intelligent deliberation. At the end of the Gita in 18.63, Krishna tells Arjuna, Vimrishaita dasheshena yathechiti tatha kuru. Now deliberate deeply on what I have said and then decide what you want to do. So the Bhagavad Gita is not calling for blind faith. Oh, I am telling this, you have to do this. Bhagavad Gita is saying, asking for intelligent faith. Use your intelligence to contemplate what is being told and then do what you're supposed to do. And then decide what you want to do. And then what is the verifiable aspect of it? The Bhagavad Gita says 9.2, Pratyakshaavagamam dharmyam susukham kartum avyayam. Says the process that is given in the Bhagavad Gita, if we follow that, Pratyakshaavagamam dharmyam, we will actually experience the higher truths as an inner awareness. And then we will become joyful, susukham. So, now for example, if the religions tell us to chant the holy names of God, what is the purpose of that? Now most people think of verifiability means, I pray to God, please pass me in my exam, and if I am passed in my exam, then God exists. And if I fail in my exam, then God doesn't exist. Now this is a very naive and uninformed idea of verifiability. Because irrespective of whether I pass or not pass in my exams, God either exists or God doesn't exist. God's existence is not based on my passing or not passing. So if you want to know whether God exists or not, there has to be another way. So what scripture promises is not that every prayer that we offer to God, that will be fulfilled and everything that we want will happen according to our desire. Scripture doesn't tell us such things. It tells that sometimes things will happen according to our request and sometimes they may not. But the purpose of going to God and the verifiable test for connecting with God is that we will get higher spiritual experience that will enable us to become free from the craving from lower experiences. So many times people are addicted to bad habits. So it may be excessive alcoholism, smoking, and other such things. And if people become devoted to God, then if they chant the names of God, if they pray to God, they worship God, they serve God, then that gives them a higher happiness, a higher wisdom, a higher strength by which they give up these lower addictions. And now we may say, I don't have such lower addictions. But we all have anger, we all have selfishness, we all have greed, and these mar our character. And if we become devoted to God, truly devoted to God, not in a ritualistic sense, but in a devotional, transformational sense, then by the practice of chanting of the holy names, by the practice of bhakti yoga, we will experience higher happiness. And by that experience of the higher happiness, we will be able to fight off, fend off, resist these lower impulses, these contaminations of selfishness, greed, anger, and we will become better human beings. The more we love God, the more we will be able to love other living beings also. So just as in science there are material science, because it deals with external things, it's experimental. Spiritual science, it deals with inner reality, so it's experiential. So we will experience internally higher happiness, and it's not just subjective, oh anybody can say I have experienced. No, that inner experience will manifest as a transformed outer lifestyle. We will become more virtuous, more godly, and less dependent on harmful or self-defeating indulgences and addictions. So that is the verifiable aspect. So reasonable or intelligent faith is the faith that before we repose the faith, it makes sense. Just like before we take the medicine, the doctor's diagnosis makes sense. And it is verifiable in the sense that after we take the doctor's medicine, we become cured. So like that, our virtuous nature, our godly nature starts manifesting more when we devote ourselves to God and practice the process to devote ourselves to God. So religions which focus on simply pay, pray and obey, that okay, you come and give them donation, just bow down to this God and then obey what we are telling to do. That sort of religions often foster blind faith. But the Bhagavad Gita does not offer religion of the type of pay, pray, obey. It offers the the religion of the type of analyze and realize. It offers philosophy for us to understand, to evaluate intellectually, to analyze. And it offers a process of enough transformation by which we can realize. And those religious systems which offer us this kind of process to analyze and to realize, putting faith in them is intelligent faith, not blind faith. Thank you. Hare Krishna.